back to my channel. This is Miss Ming. If you've been following me in this channel, you will know from my previous video that I'm a PhD student. I'm about to graduate in December. Keep our finger crossed that my dissertation doesn't get killed. So in my channel, I do vlog videos. I vlog my life. I also love traveling, workout, fitness, eating a lot of delicious food. And also as a girl, I love doing makeup and beauty products. So if these content interests you, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also ring the bell for notifications for future videos. It will mean the world to me if I can get 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. It really doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it will be a great milestone for me as a YouTuber to hit that 1,000 subscriber milestone. Did I say milestone twice? Alright, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and also ring the bell so that you don't miss out any future content. So as you know, I'm a PhD student, so in my daily life, I write a lot for publications and also my courses. And to me, productivity, efficiency are the most important thing because I want to be responsible for my students. I want to deliver quality content in my class and also on my YouTube channel. But I also want to publish a lot before I graduate and also do well in my courses. So to me, it is very important to cultivate a lot of productive habits at the very beginning of the semester. August is a big month for back to school. Okay, in this video, I will share 10 tips in terms of how to write a lot. So it doesn't matter if you're writing term paper as a high school student, college students, or graduate students, or if you're a PhD student, you try to publish a lot of paper. I think these tips will really help you to increase your productivity and cultivate a great writing habit. Are you ready? Let's get started. So the first tip is to have a writing schedule and write every single day. So if you're a PhD student, you will understand we have a lot of research papers, we have a lot of research projects and everything that we need to work on. So we can always find things to write. Versus if you're a college student or if you're high school students, you may be like, I don't have anything due this week. What do I write? So usually if you're in college, there should be a syllabus. Even if you're high school students, you should be able to know what are the bigger projects that you need to write. And my thing is to always dedicate some sort of writing time every single day. If you look at my schedule, you will know that the first thing I do in every single day, like usually I dedicate 1 hour. So in total, you just write 5 hours if you just only write on weekdays, or 7 hours during the week. So in this time, if I have anything to work on, I will just write. If I don't, I will write outlines, or I would just plan what I want to write for the papers I want to write later. But this hour that you planned for writing, you have to spend it on writing. Don't spend it on social media. Like, I know a lot of times before writing, we just take our phone and take a picture of, oh my God, we're writing, we're studying. I know, but this is not the time for that, and this is not the time for you to read. It is just a writing time. If you feel like you don't know enough, you need to go back to your textbook or research papers or whatever. If you're writing a review of a book, if you felt like, oh, I need to go back because I kind of forgot about this part, make a note to yourself and then dedicate your reading to your reading time. But make sure you schedule 1 single hour every single day to do your writing task. It could be a reflection paper, it could be a lesson plan, anything you need to write. That's right. Even if it's not due in a week, you could still write it a month ahead. You know, I'm so crazy about like doing things like way before the deadline because it just eliminates the stress. So having a writing schedule is very, very, very important. And actually planning in general is very important in college and graduate school because your time is so important. And most of us will have part-time jobs to support us throughout the school. So make sure you plan every single minute of your life so that you're not wasting it. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't spend any time on social media. It just means that put that social media time in your schedule and just use your time dedicated to social media to look at your Instagram and also my YouTube video. Second tip is to have a writing journal. I know, like, if you love journaling, you'll be like, yes, one more thing to put in my journal. If you hate journaling, you may like, but it doesn't have to be a real journal. It could just be simply a to-do list. So basically what's in this journal, it's not about how you feel. It's different from our traditional diary. It's more about listing the tasks that you need to do and also scratch the ones that you have finished. But it's kind of dangerous if you have a term paper that's like 17 pages long. Sometimes I've seen people put on work on final paper, work on final paper, work on final paper. That's what you put on your schedule, but with journaling, it's a little bit more specific to the task. So you want to make sure that you're dedicating, oh, today I want to write 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is about the background of this phenomenon. And then the second paragraph is about like previous research in this phenomenon. The third paragraph will be like my take in this phenomenon. So in that case, that's what you write on your journal. So you're listing the specific tasks that you want to work on in your writing journal. Let's say you got stuck in your second paragraph and then during your dedicated writing hour you didn't really finish it. That is okay because you can just scratch the first one, scratch the second one, and then you can put revise the second one and then work on the third one in your next writing time. So this is a really great to keep track of where you are on each project, because if you're taking 3 to 5 to 6 different classes, you might get lost, like where you're working on, you might go, so keep it more organized. Keep it a writing journal. It could be a actual journal, it could be a to-do list, it could be a sticky note on your computer, it could also be on your phone. I love on my phone because then I can check it every single time. So, and then I sometimes on my writing journal, I'll be like, I have to revise page number from this page number to that page number. I have to revise blah, 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 blah. I have to read the comments. Sometimes I would put like, write an email to someone. That was in my writing journal. So yeah. Third tip. The third tip is to change your writing settings. I know a lot of times the ideal point is that you can write anytime, anywhere, but a lot of us are a creature of habit. Every single morning when I sit on my chair and I look at my double screen computer, I'll be like, okay, the left side is the readings, the right side is the paper. Right? And after an hour, especially if it's our finals or writing a big project, you get bored because you're sitting in the same spot for like 5 hours. That's basically insane, and I think I have ADHD. I can't focus for more than 2 hours. So what I do is actually like I will work there for like 2 hours and then I will go to my kitchen table and work on my kitchen table. I know, and that's usually when I have breakfast or lunch or dinner. And sometimes I will do my composing part in the big double screen workstation, and I will do my revision part on the kitchen table. And if you're just like driven crazy by all of your writing tasks, go to the library, and then if you feel like the library is too depressing, which is to me most of the times, I can't stand the quiet zone because it's just too depressing to me. So I would go to a Starbucks and write for another 2 hours. Create your little writing corner to feel cozy and comfortable and also productive, but also change your settings from time to time so that you feel like you're changing a writing task, but really you're working on the same paper, if it makes any sense. So it's basically a way to trick yourself. The fourth one is so important in terms of productivity and efficiency. Is that before you write anything, know the expectations, requirements, and what the results should look like. So for this one, if you're writing a term paper, make sure you read the instruction like 20 times. Underline the keywords and know what the rubrics are and know how you're going to be graded upon. So these are so important because there's definitely time when I didn't really read through all of the instructions and requirements. I wrote my paper, I was really confident, and then was like, oh shoot, I remember there was a rubric, let me check. Oh duh, like there are several things that didn't really meet the rubric, so I had to revise it. It's so important to know the expectations, the requirements, the grading criteria, and also try to find examples. And I know a lot of times the teachers do not provide us like an example of what it's expected. One thing you could do is to send your paper to your professor to say, hey, I just want a quick feedback in terms of is this something that you're looking for, so that making sure that you and your professor are on the same page. And also for PhD student, for publications, it is so important to know which journal you want to publish at before you write a paper. I know, because each journal has different requirements and each journal has different like little twists in terms of what they expect. Some journals, they love more methodology. Some journals, they love more theoretical discussion. Some journals are longer. Some journal request shorter pieces of writing. So try to find 10 papers that's like yours Like if you're doing quantitative studies, try to find 10 quantitative studies. If you're doing qualitative, try to find 10 from the same journal and try to see like how they really lay out each paragraph in each section and what's the tone. Like usually the same journal would write in like a similar tone. Usually the editor or your reviewer may let you know after they read it, but it doesn't really hurt to know the expectations before it, so you're saving a lot of time. So number 4 is like the most important. Know the expectations, the end results, the requirements, and the rubrics, reading criteria. Okay. Number 5 of how to write a lot is to outline each paragraph. So every single writing teacher you had talked about outlining, planning, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times the outline I saw was beginning, middle part, and then final. And then people are like, yeah, this is my outline. It's kind of your outline, yes, but if you're working on longer papers, it's very important to outline every single thing that you want to write in your paper. So have you ever felt this way? You're working on a paper, you're off for a great start, and somehow you just got lost. You're like, what the heck? Outlining is actually a way to organize your thoughts. So think about how you talk. Like you talk to different people every single day. Have you ever met someone who talks in a very logical way, that's very persuasive, that is very convincing? You're like, yes, yes, yes. This is the type of effect you want to create in your own piece of writing. So basically, you want to create this flow of logic. When your reader is reading your paper, you'll feel like, oh, yes, yes. Oh, I didn't think about this. Yes. Oh, that's a great connection. Oh yeah, I'm so convinced. In your writing, it is so important to use logic and the flow of thoughts to relate to your reader, convince and persuade your reader, and also feel like you're interacting with the reader. It is easier when you talk to people face to face because you can have like some sort of back channel effect, but in your writing, it's so important to create this type of flow. So that's why it's important to outlining every single thing. It doesn't matter if it's a term paper, a research paper, or it's just a reflection paper, right? When you're reflecting, yes, it's about yourself. It's also about expressing yourself and also connect to the person who's reading your paper. So if you're college students, you turn in your paper, you're like, I don't know if my professor is gonna like it or not. Versus if you plan it very carefully, your professor, when your professor is reading it, he or she will be like, oh yeah, this is a student who's like paying great attention to my class, having very insightful thoughts, and who studied a lot and know a lot about this topic. So you want to create this type of effect using the flow of thoughts and your logic. So another thing that's very important is you want to plan not only the macro structure, you also want to plan in terms of how you lay out each paragraph. So first in this paragraph, I want to talk about this, and then I want to list 3 examples, 2 from the reading, 1 from real life, and then I want to present some sort of evidence, and finally I want to give some of my own evaluations and reflections. So plan every single paragraph before you write it, and also connect each paragraph within the whole essay. Okay, so outlining is so important. It's not about just the single outline you learn from your composition. Is actually way greater than that. Okay, number 6. This is how we Chinese people do 6, but number 6. Keep writing, revise later. A lot of times when I write, especially when it comes to me because I'm a second language speaker, so English is not my first language, sometimes I will get stuck in a word choice. Sometimes I felt like I'm repeating the same word over and over again, and sometimes I felt like, oh, I actually don't know about this a lot, I need to go back to the readings, oh, I need to do blah blah blah, oh, I need a transitioning sentence. What could be a good transition sentence? And then you're stuck here. So the number 6 trick about how to write a lot is once you get stuck somewhere in your writing, it could be a word, it could be that you need more information, it could be that you need more rhetorical devices. So every time you get stuck during your writing, don't stay there. Just write yourself a comment on the side. You have to highlight it so that later you will address them. For example, need a word for blah blah blah, need a different word for blah blah blah, right? Or need a transition sentence, or need to go back to the reading finds and literature, talk about this, or need to go back to the textbook, I'll need to think about some examples, need to do more research on blah blah blah. Or sometimes I would even like save a paragraph, like I would put a space in, I need a paragraph talking about this, we'll work on it tomorrow. So basically you're talking to yourself, you're leaving a note, and then tomorrow in the next hour you have a fresh mind. And sometimes I will dedicate like 20 minutes of my spare time just to research on something that I got stuck on during writing, but then you're not wasting your writing time, so you're super productive in the 1 hour you're writing. Sometimes you will be surprised, within an hour you can finish like maybe 3 short papers. That's insane, right? But it doesn't mean that after you finish you can just submit it, right? It means that after you finish the next day you need to revise it. But having finished a rough draft will give you a great sense of accomplishment, and it will increase your productivity later even more. Number 7, write ahead so that you have more time to review and revise. Do not just write before the deadline, because you're not gonna get great results. Writing is a process. You need some time to plan, you need some time to compose, and you need some time to revise. And sometimes your thoughts make sense at the point of composing. But later, after 3 days, when you go back, you'll be like, I got lost in my own thoughts. And you will be surprised how unclear you could be in your own writing. So try to write ahead at least 5 days or 3 days before the deadline, and review and revise it like at least 3 times. So I would like to finish a paper and then put it on the side for 2 days. So I wouldn't look at the paper for 2 days, and then I will revise it in terms of the content. So when it comes to content, I may revise my ideas, I may put some more sentences, explain more if I felt like it was unclear, or try to shorten some sentences if it's not concise enough, and then put it up for another 2 or 3 days and take it back, read it again, and do some editing. Oh my goodness, go away! Do some editing and also revise some word choices. And so usually I will finish the writing at least 5 days before the deadline, so that I can revise it at least 2 or 3 times before I submit the paper. That's why I got a 4.0 GPA. If you're being insecure about your paper, think of yourself as the professor you're turning the paper into, and try to think the way your professor thinks. I think the world will be a better place if we have more understanding, which means you understand your professors better and they understand you better. The world will be a better place if there's more understanding. What a great saying. Did I create it? No, probably not. Number 8, shorten your sentences. I know, like in our daily speech, we just talk constantly, blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of knowledgeable people who can just constantly be talking because they read a lot and they have like a flow of thoughts that's beautifully built. But in your writing, people get confused because when you talk, you have intonation, you take pauses, right? Versus in writing, yes, there's punctuation, but there is no intonation, there's no gesture, there's no pauses. You can't just keep comma, 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 right? So try to shorten your sentences, because in our daily speech we talk long, but we do unintentionally break it down by pause, intonation. There are a lot of nonverbal communication cues along with your speech, but they do not exist in your writing. Try to shorten your sentences, break them down into 2 or 3 will help you and help your reader and make them feel like it's clearer, it's more concise, you're conveying more information in shorter sentences. So long paper does not always mean better, and learn it the hard way. Okay, number 9, review after a few days. So we talked back to my tip number 6, keep writing, revise later, because you want to review after you put it on the side, you want to review with a fresh mind. Because after you finish paper, your brain is so much fried by your own thoughts. I know, especially if you're super smart, I'm sure you're smarter than me. You have like so many thoughts going through your mind when you're writing your paper, especially if you have such a good life, other than your dissertation cave. But try to revise and review after a few days with a fresher mind. Try to talk to more people about this topic and try to read more about this topic before you revise. It's going to help you to look at your own paper from a different perspective and from a different lens. Okay, the last tip is to switch things up when you feel tired. I know. That's why I do not recommend you to write 5 hours straight, rather write 1 hour every single day. And in my 1 hour, I actually get more productive because my brain is always fresh. So this tip also goes with the first tip, that you have to have a writing schedule. So if you have 5 different classes, 4 different papers, right? And then for this 4 paper, you may work on each paper every single day. So in your writing hour, you could spend 15 minutes on one paper, intensive writing, and then 15 minutes on the other one, 15 minutes on the other one. And then you might feel like you can write for 2 hours straight and not feeling tired or brain fried or fatigue, decision fatigue. So basically, switching your tasks like back and forth is going to give you a different perspective, so you feel like you're doing different things, but essentially you're tricking yourself because you're still writing. So it goes back to that you have to write in prior to the deadline to be able to do this. If it's due tonight, you have to finish today, right? So switch things up and switch up the settings, the physical settings, and maybe you could do something, taking a break. But essentially, writing is a lot of people's headache in college and graduate school. I get it, and I myself also hate it if I have to do intensive writing, like finish my dissertation in 1 month. 160 pages. Actually, the first 80 pages are done. It's from the proposal. I just revised it. Again, it's not healthy to really keep a good academic performance at the same time having a good life, social life, fitness life. It's very important to plan and also keep a lot of good writing habits and also productive habits throughout the semester. I think I've talked a lot in this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you find it helpful, please comment down below. It will mean more to me to know that what I put out there is helpful to someone. And also, if there's any back to school tips and tricks you want to learn, any topics you want me to make videos for, also comment down below. Also, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also ring the bell so that you don't miss out any future content. Yeah, that's it. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye! Subscribe!